Okay, the topic of today, the future of the Islamists in the coming period. impossible state. الدولة المستحيلة. Actually بقى الحلقة ده
of Muslim Brotherhood, because I remember in 1954 there was a feeling that the Muslim Brotherhood are finished, and finished for good. And this was in connection with the attempts to assassinate Jamal Abdel Nasser. I think this was one issue. The second one, in the recent news, the son of Hassan al-Banna died in Turkey, and it was I read in the news that his wife that warned the Muslim Brotherhood, he himself warned the Muslim Brotherhood of trying to take over the government because they are not ready for managing to do this. So in fact, I think this is the major mistake that the Muslim Brotherhood have done. Just walked in, is like somebody in the stock market and then see something going and keep buying and buying and then completely collapse. And I think this was the appetite that was behind the issue that is coming to this end. The period of time from 2011 till now is very short period of time to try to say that the revolution have failed and the Muslim Brotherhood are not coming and all these kind of issues. So I really agree with what you have, the comments that you have said. It's very, very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Important points.
I have a question to Mr. Ashraf. You said that revolution lacks the politics. What does politics, the revolutionary motion lacks the politics? Does politics recognize the organization and having a head to rule this? I mean that the part of politics is not clear here for me.
More questions, comments? Dr. Ali?
I'm Ali Hadi, I'm a mathematician, but I do prefer like the political science more than mathematics, because in political science there is a lot of room for argument and disagreement. In mathematics, we don't offer theory unless we have a proof, and if we don't have a proof, we call it conjecture, not theory. Ashraf, your presentation added very little to my information that I have. Yet it has increased my knowledge a great deal. I distinguish between information and knowledge. I know everything you said, but you put it in a structure that really helped me understand what happened, why it happened. I didn't know why it happened. I know what happened, but not why. And you really helped me sort out this, and that's why the information that I have was not analytical, I just simply the facts. But I didn't know why the facts happened, and you explained it very eloquently and very well. And for that, I thank you very much. This forum really is great, both the presenter and the commentator, and I don't see the wide gap in the generation, but that's okay. You described what happened in 2013 as a coup. Dr. Ibrahim said no, it is a revolution. Well, there is a third terminology which I really liked a lot, and it was termed by somebody who's here in this room, described this as an event. Neither revolution nor a coup, and as an American citizen, I don't have to describe it at all. Neither this nor that. But I really enjoyed this, and this is only a comment. I have very little questions to ask, and thank you very much for organizing this.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ala?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashraf, for your inspiring presentation. Actually, we as social scientists are faced by two big concerns: description and analysis. I think you have described very well what's going on right now in Egypt. But I think your presentation missed what about the ins out from this black hole as you have described. So it would be great if you give us some, background or solutions, if you like, not as on the personal level, but on the, analytical level. Thank you.
Dr. Ibrahim?
Thank you very much. Ashraf, I want to clarify or see if I understood something that you said toward the end. When I believe you said that post the January 25th revolution, there was not an emerging sense of what Egypt should be or how it would look like, and that this will take decades to form. I feel personally, as someone who was there and who has spoken to people who lived those 18 days, that in fact what was created in the squares, and even by people who weren't there but who were urging it on from their own communities, was in fact the vision of Egypt that people want: accountability, diversity, respect for people, individuals count, we protect each other regardless of class or ethnicity or religion or anything else. And so it seems to me the vision is quite clear, but we don't have the means to attain it. And that's where the public comments that you spoke about really needs to occupy. So if you think that's naive or utopian, please push back.
Professor Dawkins?
You could argue that it isn't the revolution until there's serious economic change, until there's a reversal of economic fortunes in the country. We didn't see any of that, because the Muslim Brothers represent the upper middle class just as much as the Mubarak team did. So it's just a trading of one elite for another, and there was no serious reversal of economic fortunes. Would you like to comment on that point of view? Would you like to comment on that point of view?
The last part.
What was the last part?
Last word.
I was saying that the usual definition of a revolution is that there's a serious reversal of economic fortunes. At least nothing of the kind after 2011 until now. Instead, it seems to have been, for all the various political changes, seems to have been a solidification of the distribution of chances in this society.
Thank you very much. I think we just have time to give Ashraf the chance to respond to, without going into new lecture.
Okay, I'll thank you all thanks Dr. Ibrahim for his comment, and thank you all for your questions. I'll start first with the Dr. Ibrahim's comments. Well, first, number one, coup or revolution. Well, Dr. Ibrahim is saying I need to be careful about using the term coup. Well, actually, I think we should be more careful using the word revolution, because it's more complicated phenomenon than coups. And actually, I personally participated in June 30s, but as a political scientist, technically what happened is a coup. It's a military coup. According to political science textbooks, it is a military coup. It was popularly backed. I agree, of course. That's very obvious. Stating the obvious. It was popularly backed by many people, majority or not, we can't really tell, but with large number of people. But so what? There are many military coups who were popularly backed, including the military coup by Pinochet in Chile in 1973 was popularly backed. Military coup in Egypt in 1952 was popularly backed, and etc. etc. We have a lot of examples of military backed, popularly backed military coup. That's number one. Number two, the idea of people participating in the streets. Well, I'm not sure 30 million people took to the streets who can ever. We don't have really a meter or barometer to measure the number of people who take to the streets. Besides, it's not really a guarantee for anything. Like, I have been in the streets over these periods of time, and I saw many people demonstrating on the two sides. After the overthrow of Morsi, I saw large demonstrations supporting in the return of Morsi, which honestly, objectively, they are the largest demonstrations I have seen since the revolution. One in Alexandria in July 16th, and a couple of ones in Cairo a few days after the Rabaa massacre. Were extremely big, extremely massive. So the numbers here are not really good, as long as we don't really say much. We can say there was a popular movement protesting the Mohammed Morsi rule, and it ended in a popularly backed military coup. Okay, and later on, of course, the political events, the roadmap, the political institutions that have been installed, the type of regime that has been installed in power is clearly right now a military dictatorship. So definitely it is a military coup leading to a military regime. The Muslim Brotherhood, well, I'm afraid actually to put your point that we don't need to describe it. Well, maybe people don't need to describe it, but me as a political scientist, I need to describe it because that's my job, right? So I need to put terms to things. The Muslim Brotherhood, as Dr. Saad was talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, he says, Gamal al-Banna, I think it's a Masonic Leninist group. I prefer to put it's a taifa, sect. It acts like it's a very unique type of group. It's a religious group which mobilizes people in religious grounds, but also social ground, personal, family backgrounds, family networks, mobilizing them for charity, public activities, and politics as well. So it's a very complicated type of group, unrivaled anyway. So that's one of the reasons for its failure in dealing with democratic politics. Rise up of the Muslim Brotherhood again. Well, maybe I wasn't really clear about that. My point here is that we shouldn't really count on the history of the Muslim Brotherhood state relationship that happened in Egypt between 1928 to 2011 to make the argument that they will come back again as before. Because I am saying what happened in 2011 is a big turning point. New history is in the creation. Okay? Something new is created. Regarding state, regarding the Islamists, regarding society, regarding everyone. So we can't really count on the old historical precedents. And in parallel with this, we can't also count on old social science scholarship. We need new social science theories, new social science scholarship to understand and conceptualize what's happening. I believe old dualities are expired by now. Reformist revolutionary, Islamic secularist, statist, non-statist, all of this is collapsing to the favor of something new. We need a new updated social science. Area studies in general, I think they're poor, but the Middle Eastern studies are among the poorest, I believe, in the area studies in political science, and this needs to be changed to understand what's going on. Revolution and the failure of the revolution. First, let me answer your point about the people. Did they understand what's happening? Well, the people had a vision of the objectives as a general terms, abstract terms. Freedom, equality, social justice. But how can this be translated into concrete politics? That's missing. Okay? Everybody's talking about social justice. Mean what? In the context of Egypt, we're talking about Egypt. We're living in a world dominated by neoliberal political economy. In Egypt, you have a very big public sector dominated by unaccountable military and bureaucracy, and you have a parasitical, crony capitalist private sector. How can you do social justice regarding this? I don't know. It can be done. You need to be concretized into concrete programs and platforms. And this leads me to your question about politics. What do I mean by politics? Well, again, politics is simply the political action. Well, Lenin famously used to say that there is no revolution, but there is a revolutionary condition. And the revolutionary condition is based on a revolutionary theory and a revolutionary organization. What we need simply is a platform, not a program, because programs are very nice and they are all full in the drawers, okay? They're very nice, very well written, very coherent, but they're not really platforms. What I mean by platforms is policy, objectives, tailored to meet the demands of specific, real social constituencies, addressing their demand, interests, and grievances. We lack a platform, we lack a social constituency, I mean the revolutionaries. They lack a platform, social constituency, they lack an organization. We have a collective action problem in Egypt. Well, that's very obvious, we can't really have any collective action. Well, I always to say the only 3 successful examples of collective action in Egypt before the revolution were the Muslim Brotherhood, outside the state, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Coptic Church, and the Medillah. Okay? 3 only examples of successful collective action organization. And the 3 of them right now, by the way, are not really doing good. Well, the Muslim Brotherhood, of course, I've been talking about it, Daddy Lang is not doing good, and the Coptic Church as well, it's not really as before. So we have a collective action problem regarding organization, problem of leadership, and problem of discourse, language. Or this is my language, social justice and so on, it needs to be translated into terms understandable to the common people, okay? People must understand that this is relevant to their day-to-day life and improve their living. That's missing among everyone, Islamists and Islamist revolutionists and secularist revolutionists. The notion of the failure of the revolution, well, I agree with Dr. Hopkins. A revolution, by definition, it must change 2 things: the political economy, the economic structure, and the state-society relations. Well, none of this has changed in Egypt, so logically, the revolution did not succeed. To make it even more complicated, I mean, right now we're living in 2016, where you're living under military dictatorship, 40,000 people in prison, many people are killed, 400 people die every year by torture in police stations. Media is under censorship, and we're living under almost a pseudo-North Korean style regime in Egypt. Well, certainly that's not a victory of the revolution. That's certainly a defeat, I would say, at least of the first wave of the revolution. Certainly it was defeated. Okay, the point of pessimism. Well, I don't think I'm pessimistic. Well, I said gradually, pessimism of the will, the intellect, optimism of the will. Well, I need to be, I'm not pessimistic. I'm kind of passionate about what I see, okay? And again, this answers the point of the failure. Well, I see failure as a political scientist. Well, Egyptian state for 60 years, at the end of it, ended up as a non-democratic state, non-developmental state, combining the worst of 2 things, okay? Worldwide. Non-democratic, non-development. Okay, that's a big failure for 60 years. And we have tried all different sorts of ideologies. Nationalism, state liberalism, state nationalism, all different sorts of presidents. Okay, so that's a failure. Just look over the rankings of Egypt in all human development report made by credible institutions. You'll find Egyptian ranking, education, healthcare, economy, and so on, lowest rankings. So that's a failure. We have tried democracy, limited democratic transition experiments after push, and it failed. We have tried moderate Islamic model, and it has failed. We have tried revolution itself, and it did not succeed. So that's a failure. As a social scientist, I'm saying that's a failure. But I'm not pessimistic, because I am saying that's not the end of the story. That's just the first chapter. Because if everything fails, then the crisis continues. Because there is a black hole. There is a big crisis. There's a black. Political physics tells us that this must be filled. And Egypt has this. It must change, or it will perish like dinosaurs. Okay? So it must change. Something must be done, and it will be done. But I'm saying it will include a lot of conflicts, upsettling, and it will take a lot of time. Another important thing which Dr. Ibrahim was referring to, saying revolutions take time to realize their objectives. Yeah, that's true, but on one condition: you have the right start. Okay? I mean, Aristotle, basic logic, right introductions lead to right conclusions. If you start your story of revolutionary change with a military dictatorship, this is leading nowhere. I'm sorry. Even if you have waited for 60 years, and even if you became super patient about everything, again, this is leading us to nowhere, no matter what happens. Right beginnings, wrong starts don't lead us to right conclusions. Ghanouchi and the guys in Nahda, I agree partially with Dr. Ibrahim, they are different, but I'm also not fully optimistic, because Tunisia is an example for partial revolution. Like, they have made a successful democratic transition. They have succeeded in what in Egypt have failed. But so what? Still, the political economy is not addressed. It's still the same. The social justice is not achieved. And we have seen the latest riots and the latest protests. Okay? So there is no fundamental restructuring in Tunisian society, including the Islamists. And Mr. Ghanouchi is very smart and very sophisticated, very composed. Nahda or PJD in Morocco compared to their counterparts in Egypt. But I'm not sure they have credible alternatives regarding the question of social justice or radical democracy or any other issues. Finally, the reconciliation. I agree with Dr. Ibrahim that reconciliation is very hard in the short term, reconciliation between the Muslim Brotherhood and the regime. In the short term, for two reasons, on the two sides. On the Islamist side, well, it's the old leadership, they can make a deal, but the young, youthful grassroots will not heed, because what they care about right now is not the return of Morsi. What they care about is the thousands of their own colleagues and friends who are being killed, massacred, or in prison. That's very hard. Something must be done to address this, and this is a very stumbling block against reconciliation. On the other hand, the regime as well doesn't have much to offer to the brothers, because there is no reconciliation with the Sisi. I mean, he must step down, he must be removed from the figure. Not just him and all top leadership, because they're involved in the blood. Okay, this can never be done except under huge popular pressure, which is not yet. It might be in the making, but it's not yet done. One last thing here: the police and the army, the security institutions, they have invested a lot in the repression and the suppression of the Islamists, so they can't back down now, because it became an existential question. And even, I don't think even the military itself, they can control the security institutions. The Egyptian state right now, it became, it's not really even an authoritarian state. It became, I was talking to an American journalist a few weeks ago, and I told him Sisi is not really a dictator, he's a representative of a coalition of dictatorial state institutions, each one acting on its own. It's like a coalition of mini mafiosi institutions, oligarchic mafiosi institutions, each one acting on its own behalf, uncontrolled. Just see what's happening in the police. I mean, right now the latest doctors' syndicate protests. The police, I mean, people might wonder, I mean, be surprised, why the state is risking this snowball confrontation with an important professional sector like doctors just for 2 or 3 Umara Shorta. I mean, you know, people are familiar with Egypt. Umara Shorta are among the most filthy and most unrespectable elements of the government. But actually, I believe they can do that. They can do but that, because I mean, again, it's these Umarat Shorta who serve as the grassroots, the power base of the security institution, which control the streets. If you penalize or punish one of them, then the rest will just quit, will stop working, and they will tell Mr. Sisi, do it, handle your security yourself. So the situation right now is really very complicated, and I don't think there is a way out for change, or way out for reconciliation, because a reconciliation means some people will pay the price for it, for what they've done. And that's very hard to do right now, because it became existential. No one will accept that. The same logic applies to the economy as well. No possibility for socio-economic reform, because the reform implies austerity, implies people paying price. And certainly the people who should pay the price are the ones who are benefiting from the situation. And they're the ones in charge, they're on the willing, so there will be no willing to give up on their privileges. So I don't think there will be room for reform, don't think there will be room for reconciliation in the short term. Maybe in the medium range or the longer term, if things get really very ugly. I mean, socio-economic popular pressures, regional pressures on the regime. If the situation in Syria has been resolved, which is important as well, we didn't talk much about it, but it's important. If things change, which I think might happen in the medium range, then maybe we can have reconciliation. However, and that's my key point, even if we have a reconciliation, even if Mr. Sisi and all of his bunch of friends are out of the scene, and even if the Muslim Brotherhood leadership is out of the scene, and now they have ended confrontation, now they are back as good bedfellows as they used to be, even if we have this right now, this is not the solution for anything, because we are simply returning back to 2011-2013 formula, which has failed. And as Einstein once said, only idiots do the same thing twice and expect different results. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you see, Ashraf is very reassured. And obviously, I learned a lot from the discussion between two of my colleagues. I have a lot to say. Just 2 points. One, The Egyptian case has raised some issues, what is called a democratic coup, which is a contradiction in terms, with somebody at Harvard developing this theory. And objectively, when we look at what Sisi and his group have done, this is very different from what Nasser and his colleagues have done. So that is a big debate. Number two, I agree partly with Ashraf that 2011 for the Muslim Brotherhood has been a milestone. Different from 1954. Why? This is how we started our talk. The Muslim Brotherhood has been tested in government, and they failed. That, I think, would change a lot about judging them. Not only they have failed, but they proved to be dictatorial. At a certain time, 7 of Morsi's advisors have resigned. And I think that shapes the judgment about the Muslim Brotherhood. I think what Dr. Saad Eddin said about Nahda is very important. And Nahda ended not by being dismissed, but by retreating from government, withdrawing. And I come to what Dr. Sharkawi has said. The Muslim Brotherhood has rushed in government without learning. The question then, are they capable of learning? I think that will decide a lot of things. We have started the debate, we haven't ended it, but as my friend Dr. Ali Hadi said, this is a big issue, and I hope to see you on another of these topics. Thank you very much for